Thank you guys for coming again to another episode of Black Coffee and Crime. This is episode 29, where we're actually going to today deviate a little bit from a really deep crime story. We're going to talk about something that's going on right now. So we're really going to have a gossip session about a cop in Texas who is being a little naughty. So we'll do that today on episode 29. My name is Brandy, and we have another Brandy Watts, and of course Jackie is also here with us today. So thank you for joining us for episode 29. So we always start with church announcements and what we find on Al Gore's internet. So here are the announcements as follows. As always, please obey your pastor. Well, respect your pastor and obey your ushers. Do we have anything for the church announcements? How are we doing with the choir robes and the building fund? Yeah.
Collect. We all right.
All right. Well, we have enough money for the wine this week.
We've been trying to redecorate the vestibule. So,
and I'm trying out the wine for this week. Now this ain't the blood of Jesus. It's Sugar Avery P that I got here this week. So, next week, this Sunday it'll be communion. So on the first Sunday. So amen.
Bring your own cups because we out.
Yeah, we out of cups. It's a pandemic and we ain't trying to wash nobody else's cups. So bring them a little cup now. Last time we had communion, somebody had poured all the wine in a venti cup and we didn't have none. Okay, we had to use Kool-Aid. So be mindful. Those are the church announcements this week. We got a few letters from the prison based on last week's episode. We have still suspended prison ministry. All the single women in the church, we are not passing these letters out for prison bays. I have warned you, and that's the last time. We ain't praying for you if it goes bad. Amen. All right, those are the announcements as follows. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Now, Al Gore's internet was chock full of stuff this week. This is why we're going to do this type of episode. So, Brandy, you had, you found something about some woman stabbing her husband about a sex video?
Yeah, well, Lenora down to Mexico and her husband, Juan, had an issue. Juan is flipping through his phone and Lenora happens to look over and see a sex video of him and another woman. So she breaks out her knife and stabs her husband several times, not realizing that he had found an old video from that he had forgot was in his phone of them. She was much skinnier and much younger. So she stabbed her husband and went on to the big house. Well, I don't think she's been charged, but I don't think she done,
Did he press charges on her?
Heard that story.
The man was all bloodied up. Somebody had to call the paramedics.
But he pressed charges. Like he said, take her downtown.
They took her downtown. I don't know if Juan pressed charges. I mean, if Lenora's doing stuff like stabbing her husband, this ain't the first time she done flew off the handle.
Nah, she be whipping Juan's ass on a daily basis. That's normal.
So I don't know if Juan pressed charges. It didn't say if Juan had pressed charges. But
wow.
Yeah, video of them, an older video of them.
Well, I'm just wondering how long ago that was, that video, that she had gained that much weight or she looked that much older that she didn't.
Well, I don't think she looked at it all the way. I think she just seen some action going on. It might have caught a glimpse of him and something and forgot all about that they had made that video. I was gonna say she didn't recognize her outfit, but clearly she probably didn't have an outfit on.
Right. It was all skin and tattoos.
So yeah, she done stabbed her husband down to the place, and they went on and took her to jail, and she got some charges on her. Now I don't know if Juan, like I said, I don't know if Juan put it on her, but the police did take her on downtown.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to look at that phone. And then
Juan needs a flip phone from now on. he needs a Nokia. As a matter of fact, he needed a Nokia 6510.
5.
Yes.
So you have press charges? Because you was asking, did Juan press charges on her?
I mean, they gonna get back together. You know they gonna get back together. They ain't gonna get in a divorce. So if you didn't Tamar Braxton say let that man cheat in peace? So,
That was her mom. But yeah.
So I mean, on the same note, like you gonna get back with Lenora. So she been probably whipping his tail every Friday when he bring his check home. So
yep, more than likely.
So I mean, just why press charges?
You know, she feeling like, dang, like shoot. Could have been at the house, up in this jail cell.
Yeah, she gonna whoop him again. She gonna bust them stitches wide open. Watch. Just watch. We gonna be hearing about Lenora Juan again.
She probably did something because she flew off a little fast. I would have looked at it, but like, oh, so
what's this?
Your phone?
Well,
this you?
Juan
so if you had done that, you'd realized it was her, but she just barely caught a glimpse.
Juan gonna need witness protection. That's all I'm saying, because Lenora is off the chain.
Actually, your normal instinct is normally to be like, "What's that?" Yeah,
she been whooping it. When you say she grabbed her knife and stabbed him, that meant Lenora is always with the shits. Like she is always ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like she's like a machete. Like she's ready to go at all times. Like she's not.
But they probably be fighting and fussing and stabbing and jabbing each other all the time.
And in between the beatings, the chilling keep
coming.
Yep.
And if you know, you know. All right. So that's one thing. Now, Jackie, you just brought up an interesting story from TikTok that I did not hear about. That sounds very familiar to another story that we did earlier this year.
Yeah, a 16-year-old TikToker, her name was Collier Williams. Some friends, well, this is what happened. The girl is a homebody. She's not known for leaving her house. She likes to be at home. And she trusted one of her friends to go to a house party that was supposed to be at an Airbnb. Her parents told her, hey, we need to talk to her parents and make sure this is what's happening. The girl's parents, her friend, said, hey, yes, it's the same spot we did the year before. Remember, she came, we had a great time. Same thing. Well, the parents lied. That's not what they were doing. They just told the parents that so that she could go. End up having it at the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta. While she was in the middle of doing a TikTok, if you watch the video, all of a sudden she's like startled, and then she does like a light screen, and then the camera cuts off. Literally 15 minutes later, the next video they show is her downstairs in the lobby, and her friends are trying to resuscitate her in the lobby. They didn't do it in a room. They brought her down to the lobby. There's a time frame stamp from the time she started her TikTok to the hotel cameras of when she got downstairs, which was like 15 or 20 minutes. And they tried to resuscitate her. She had already been dead. When they were resuscitating, she was dead. So right now, Collins's parents are like, okay, well, no, the parents are technically responsible because they lied to us. You lied to us. You didn't tell us what you were taking. You weren't taking our daughter. And they do have a suspect in mind, but they still don't know. They just have a suspect because he was the only male.
Was she like sexually assaulted?
Yes, she was raped and beat to death.
In a 15-minute period.
In a 15-minute period.
And there were multiple people in the room.
She went with 4 friends.
So the story that I was talking about is, you guys know, is Kamika Jenkins. That happened in Chicago in 2017?
Yep.
2017, something like that. Very similar story. Party in a hotel room, video, multiple friends. She looks startled, she screams, and the next thing you know, you see Kamika walking erratically through the hotel, and she's found in an abandoned freezer and disfigured in half with half her clothes on.
Yep.
And then her friends leave her, drop her car off with her mom, and then go away. And crazy enough that you mentioned it, she was also at a Hyatt hotel in Chicago.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So crazy. like TikTok is like, well, her friends, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Her friends are shady. That's
Her
dirty.
friend probably,
I blame the parents. I'm
probably
going after
invited her there to beat her up. You know how girls do.
Yeah.
I heard her come, and then we gonna beat her.
That sounds like
4 friends. But who sexually assaulted her then?
The guy they have in suspect, he isn't even talking.
Was he there at the party?
He would have had to be. He would have had to be in order for her to be assaulted.
Even the video of when they brought her down to the lobby, it's kind of odd because everyone's kind of standing around and there's one person trying to do the resuscitate. It's just odd. And I'm like, they already knew she was dead. What they had been trying to do up there in that room was trying to come up with a plan.
Right.
Come up with a story. What we gonna say? What we gonna do? And I'm like, how?
They probably took her downstairs and saw people and then had to pretend. They probably was gonna put her body in the car. So
probably.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what is crazy? Because this is like the second story this week of like a whole mob of kids killing another kid. Because I know you guys heard about the 4 girls that stabbed another girl in Walmart.
Yes.
They stabbed her to death with knives that they got inside the Walmart. These girls were like 13, 14 years old. Stabbed a 15-year-old to death in a Walmart while the store was open. And then they recorded themselves talking about it like, we stabbed her, we stabbed that B, and we stabbed that B, and it is what it is, and she deserved it. Listen, you ain't gonna be talking that shit when they get you downtown.
Oh no.
Because you told on yourself. And I pray that they are charged as adults. I get that kids don't understand things, but these kids today are much more savvy and more intelligent. I would say socially intelligent than kids 25 years ago than we were. We had a conscience and we were very naive even 30 years ago when I ain't been out of high school 30 years, but I'm reaching. But even when we were young teens, we still had a conscience and were very naive, and we would never do some of the things that these kids are doing nowadays.
No, wouldn't.
These kids have they don't have any qualms about doing these things, and then they get on the internet and they just feel like I'm untouchable.
I don't think they think about what's going to happen after what you just did. Like, I think we were fearful to do certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, please don't call my mama on her job. Do not call my mama on her job. Call my grandma, but don't call my mama.
Right.
We had some kind of fear of, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna get in trouble, and we also didn't have all the outside influence. I mean, we had to be in bed by a certain time. So when those things came on of stuff we couldn't watch,
right,
we didn't watch it.
Right. And we had
also, is that a lack of parenting? Because maybe the influence on generationals have changed, obviously. However, because our parents were a little bit tougher on us. You get what I'm saying? They were a little bit harsher. Brandon, we were talking about how these kids are just a little weak. They're a little weak. So would that be a parenting thing though?
They're flooded with so much information.
I think it's a balance of both, because now in this generation, we have younger parents.
Yeah, I think so.
My mom works at a high school, and you have incoming freshmen at the incoming freshman age, but you have their parents that are 31 and 32 years old with a freshman in high school. And you have younger parents so you think about these kids who are raising, I mean, we had girls and guys who had kids at 14, 15 years old, but it was very rare and it was looked down upon, and there was a sense of shame in that. Now you have kids who are having, by the time they're 12, 13, by the time they're freshmen in high school, they might have 2 kids already. And they're growing up with their kids. And I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but you might have some parents who they're growing up in the exact same generation that their kids are growing up in. You know what I'm saying? There's no separation of generation, our parents were in a whole different generation than we were. But nowadays, you have millennials in Generation Z who are in the same, you know, their parents and their kids are in the same generation. So there's nothing to separate them. There's no knowledge gained from one generation to the next because they're in the same one. So both the child and the parent are influenced by Instagram culture, rap culture, this bling and money and all these, you know, everything has to be pretty and everything is recordable. Everything's for the gram. So if the parents and the kids are on the same wavelength, then what are they teaching them? Where do you have any moral, any fear? Like you said, Brady, where's the fear? Because me and my mom are doing the same thing. Me and my daddy doing the same thing.
I think it's just the influx of information and things that they might not should be able to see that they see. Mm-hmm. I mean, you basically have a device in your hand to show you anything that you want to see without your parent over your shoulder or listening in from the kitchen. I mean, even our phone, I couldn't have a phone call for real without everybody hearing what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Couldn't close the door while you was on the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
You could use the phone. Because my mom used to get on, I need to use the phone. And I'm like, but like, just pick up. I need to use I'm not on the phone, though.
Right.
And we'll sit on the phone till you hang up.
I need to use the phone.
My mama would. She was
Nah, see, back in the day, they used to hit
I'd be like, okay, mom.
They used to have those the desktop phones, and they used to hit the little thing in the middle, like you know, pop it a few times. Yeah, rude ass parents. Yeah. Fucking rude. Now,
rude.
There's another story that I saw today, and this one is out of Rochester, New York. This happened on January 29th, so just a few days ago. Police in Rochester, New York were called out to help with a 9-year-old girl who threatened to kill her mom and herself. Now, the articles from New York Times and from NBC News that I read, they do not say what the circumstances or situation was prior to that caused her to say these things. And she said she was going to run away. She wanted her father. So I can assume that her father is not in the same house as she is. They're called out. There are six police cars called out for a 9-year-old little girl who does not have a weapon. She's unruly. She's calling for her father. At some point during the incident, an officer says, just tase her already.
What?
No, they said just pepper spray her. Just spray her already. Just go ahead and spray her. A 9-year-old. And another officer says, you're acting like a child. And then the little girl reminds them, I am a child. They pepper spray this baby. They handcuff her and take her to a hospital where she's released. The officer, get this, the officer who did this pepper spraying was a woman.
So they don't see our children as children.
Huh.
She said, you were acting like a child. And the baby says, I am a child. As if to reprimand the adult to say, duh, I am a kid. I'm going to act like a kid. At no point was there any show, and there's the video, and I will post a video on our Facebook and Instagram pages. At no point was there an attempt to calm down a 9-year-old child who clearly is calling for her father. She's having a rough time for whatever reason. At this point, you drop down on your knee as an adult and you ask that baby, what is wrong?
Yes.
What's wrong? Well, get your daddy. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. Where's the compassion? But like Brandy said,
did her mom call the police? Really quickly, I'm sorry.
What's that?
Did her mama call the police?
Yes, because she I think she ran away.
Yeah, she was a
they were
runaway.
called to help to locate her.
Okay.
And it says family dispute, but I don't. But again, it's not giving neither article, the NBC News article, or the New York Times article that I read. Neither one of them said what happened prior to that, if there was, she brandished a weapon or whatever. But again, this is a 9-year-old child who, again, the article didn't say anything about any behavior issues or impediments or impairments, anything like that. So you might have a family situation where the child is stressed, obviously, and you pepper spray. And one of the things that was said by the police union chief was that they did this in order not to cause injury to the child. You pepper sprayed a 9-year-old. How the fuck you gonna say that there's no injury?
Right.
So another quote from the
she could have had an allergic reaction, anything, and
this is just
asthma attack.
Died. Yeah.
Anything. This is what the union president said. The officer made, this is from the NBC News. The officer made a decision to subdue the girl and acted in a way that didn't injure her. He goes on to say, I am not saying there are not better ways to do things, but let's be realistic about what we're facing. It's not TV, it's not Hollywood. We don't have a simple situation where we can put out our hands and have somebody instantly handcuffed and comply. Somebody is a 9-year-old child. Handcuffed is unnecessary and comply. She's a 9-year-old girl going through something. When do you just be a human and hug this child? When do you talk to this child? I'm not a police officer, but I am a human and I am a woman. And if you don't see a 9-year-old child who is scared out of her mind and needs a hug or needs compassion, needs someone to talk to, you see this as someone who needs to be pepper sprayed as if she's a criminal. So I mean, I was just floored by this today. Like, and as police chiefs do, or this is the union president, I was just floored by the statement. Like, I'm not saying there's not better ways to do this, but
what?
I don't. And there's lots of incidents. I'm not saying that this does not happen to non-Black kids. When it does happen to non-Black kids, you hear about it. But this has happened to a lot of children of color where they are arrested, and the teachers call the police and they are arrested for being unruly in a classroom. I don't know when teachers got soft. I don't know when teachers became pansies. I get that y'all are under stress and all of that, but when I was in grade school, the teacher never called the police because a kid was acting up in class. You just get your ass out. Go to the office. We don't,
and we'll tell them, and don't send him back until he gets some act right.
Right. Go sit outside for a minute, get you some air. I don't know, but this is too much, and I'm quite sure this baby is forever traumatized by this incident.
It's horrible.
So I will definitely be posting this to our page so you guys can see this. All right, so we are going to be done with Al Gore's internet. We're going to lighten this up a little bit, and now we're going to talk about Brandon's favorite cop out of Stinnett, Texas, Panhandle, about 3 miles outside of Amarillo. The police chief there, Jason Collier, is being a naughty boy. Jason has about 11 wives, girlfriends, mistresses, and side pieces.
Just bopping out here.
Here's the thing, Jason got a fupa. He got 2 fupas, y'all.
Yeah.
He got one under his chin, and he got one on his back. Jason is not a hot piece. Jason ain't even lukewarm, y'all.
Jason supposedly 41.
Jason look all of 56.
Yeah. Thank you.
He look all of 56.
He looks 56.
He's younger than me.
Yeah, he's projecting 50-ish. That's what he's projecting, 50, 56. But Jason is out there doing big things. So this is all over the internet. Facebook, it just went crazy. So from what I understand, Randy, you can kind of like, go into this a little bit more. From what I understand, there was a picture of him posted on the Stinnett Police Department or something Facebook page, somebody's Facebook page. And a lady saw it. She's like, wait a minute. I guess it was a picture of him and his wife or something.
Yeah.
No, it was a picture of him getting an award. But what happened is his girlfriend, soon to be fiance, Cicely, had commented on it with a picture of Jason in her profile picture. Okay. A friend of Christy, which is his fiance, saw the picture and said, I guess, tagged Christy or told Cicely, I know that guy. So Christy gets on the post. She, they, how you know this guy. Well, he's my fiance as of December, whatever. And Cicely's like, well, this is my boyfriend. She's soon to be fiance. He hadn't got her ring yet, but Christy had her ring. So they're going back and forth on similarities of when he was with you, on such and such day, yeah, he was with me. When he told you this, he was with me. So that's how it started, is these two women meeting up.
And boy, the text thread, because the thread of the text messages is on Facebook, and we do have a copy.
Yes, Lord.
It is very entertaining. Apparently, he's telling he has two wives, Opal and Chloe. With Chloe, he has two children. I believe she lives in like Iowa or Kansas or somewhere in the Midwest.
Was it Chloe?
And Chloe, Chloe's the other wife. And he told her that he was on deployment. What happened?
I thought it was Kristen.
No, Chloe is the other wife.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have two kids, and he told her that he was on deployment, which is why she doesn't see him often. And then he's got all these other women, and he's telling them that he works for Homeland Security. He now, in addition to being a police chief of Stinnett, he's also a pastor.
Ordained
minister. And in that role, he is also married to Opal.
Opal.
Listen, we're going to get into Opal in just a second, because I know you itching to talk about Opal. So basically, they're in this text thread, and they're talking about all these similarities, and they're kind of putting the timeline together. Okay, so when he was here and he told me this, he's getting all into these women's lives as far as meeting their family, spending time with the kids,
asking for their hand in marriage, going to their fathers, actually buying rings.
When I read that, I was like, but have you had this kind of time?
Right. This is the perfect story leading into Valentine's Day. So the fact that, just because you're not visibly pleasing doesn't mean that you don't deserve love, or that you're not attractive in some other way to women. But Jason Collier, though,
maybe because the town's small. I don't know.
Yeah, there's only 2,000.
One thing I thought was, I'm like, maybe because the town is small and there really isn't a.
But they're not all from
Stinnett. Stinnett has a population of 2,000. I see you trying to justify things, Jackie, and I appreciate the effort. However, we still talking about Jason Collier out of Stinnett, Texas. So there's a timeline, and I have it here. Okay, so Cicely is, and this is according to this chart that I have here, and I don't know where you got this from, Brandy, but it says we need to talk about Jason. I'll post this too. It says Cicely is the first woman to come forward, post a picture of her and her fiance. She found out he was married. The second woman to come forward is Christy. Met Jason in December of 2019. After seeing Cicely's post, and said she was too engaged to him. Opal is the current wife, has not come forward. She cannot be found. The first wife has not publicly come forward. Let's see, Katie She's currently involved with Jason. Then there's Angie. She responded to Cicely, claimed that Jason did the same thing to her in 2007. There's also Heather, met Jason through a dating app, and they were dating from November of 2020. So this man keeps going. There's another unknown woman. She's a former acquaintance who came forward and stated between 2005 and 2006 that he was allegedly caught cheating on his wife with an 18-year-old. Then there's Sarah, who was tagged in a comment, possible fiance, but she hasn't come forward yet. Then there's Brenna, posted screenshots of pictures and text messages between her and Jason. Then there's another unknown woman with a daughter, whose daughter came forward, but the woman has not come out publicly. 5011 of them. 5011. If y'all don't know what 5011 mean, it is a numeric term. It is very it's in the dictionary. 5011 mean a buttload, a whole bunch of them, all of that. Handful, more than a handful.
Because I definitely invested in reading that post and all the comments on it. I invested myself.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if this is better than like
it was quite the drama.
This is the better than any reality TV series that you.
Oh, it is
better than All My Children.
All of it. Yeah. It's very intriguing, and as you're reading the text thread, you're like, what in the hell is going on in these small towns?
And this thing, he always gave the women
coffee makers.
A coffee maker. They all got coffee makers.
That was one weird thing that they found in common is that.
He must drink a lot of coffee.
That he would give them as a coffee maker.
He's going to make sure there's coffee at their house.
At all times when he wanted.
But see, this is where this really affected me. Is Opal. Ain't nobody went around and checked on Opal. Ain't nobody heard nothing from Opal. All she was trying to be was a good wife to this man. Police chief and pastor's wife. You know, she leads out in the children's choir. You know, she plays the special music. She bakes for the women's empowerment brunch quarterly.
Now listen, y'all, I just want to say this before we get a comment or somebody tries to sue us. We don't even know about no damn women's empowerment brunch or whether Opal makes pies for the annual
I ain't even talked about her
pies. We don't know.
Award winning pies, buttermilk pie and apple pie. She sells down at the homecoming parade for the high school, Stinnett High School homecoming parade every year.
Now I read that just a couple of hours ago that one of his wives, I was trying to see if it was her, filed for a divorce and they wanted it in private. But I don't know if it's her. I was just trying to check to see. It was 2 hours ago. They won't say her name. I don't know. I checked two of them earlier.
And I told you, Brand, she was going to leave him alone. Brand said
she is begging for privacy. She said she has gotten so many text messages, so much. People just want to know, and she just want to do it in private. She don't want nobody bothering her.
That sound like Opal. That sound like Opal.
It sounds like it's
Opal gonna take him back, y'all. These are speculations, and we can put this in a betting pool between the three of us. Opal gonna take his ass back, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Opal is not gonna take him back.
Opal gonna take him back. She gonna divorce him because right now there's public pressure for her to divorce him, and just in case he has any debts or anything, she doesn't want to be tied to it the same way that Camille Cosby divorced Bill. She don't want to be tied to that.
He been running around.
He
been running around spending all that house money, talking about that they cut his pay down at the station, so he need to pick up extra hours with this fake other job he got her baking. You know, this is the good time. I was telling Brand, this is the prime time of year for her to be doing her baskets because it's about to be Valentine's.
Where are you coming up with this stuff from? Like, why are we profiling Opal?
Valentine's goodie baskets that she sells because she's also a school teacher that she sells for some extra income because Jason's money got cut down at the thing and to help with her classroom. Everybody don't have it.
Listen, Opal.
I ain't gonna talk about Ted and Nancy.
I'm going with over there to the divorce. It has to be her. Where she gonna divorce him? She ain't going back. It's embarrassing.
And this is why I speculate that Opal is going back. Opal
publicly humiliated.
Listen, I don't like to call. I'm not shaming Opal at all because I don't know this woman, and I'm quite sure that this is hard for all of these women. To be duped by a man, and then to be duped by a man who looks like Jason Collier.
But Opal was a good woman, Savannah. She was a good woman.
Oh Lord.
I cannot stand you. Listen, Opal is gonna go back to him because there is not. If she's a good woman and she is loyal,
if she's a good woman, she ain't going back to him. Got her name all tied up in these credit card schemes and stuff he's spending on these women. They said he had a lot of credit cards.
And that's probably why she's divorcing him, so that she won't be liable for all the debt. Not that she don't
be sick.
He wasn't even thinking about Opal and them churning back at the house.
No. But see, Opal knew all that crap was going on. It's this small
Opal
town.
did not know. She was too busy working. The women auxiliary and
women's empowerment brunch.
That's quarterly. She don't have to do that all the time. Be down at that school. The kids want cheerleading and football, PTA.
Mm-hmm.
See, then damn it, maybe Opal should cut her schedule, and she'd have been maybe to pay attention to all the signs instead of being all up in everybody's business.
Well, she's trying to keep her family afloat. Because, like I said, they done cut just pay down to the thing, and he got to be traveling around to make this extra.
Well, loose lips sink ships. Bubbler. And now the ship is going down.
She got to walk around that town, and Nancy looking at her all crazy.
Brady, who the hell's Nancy?
The gossip at the church.
Right. See?
She the one side-eyeing her every time she see it. Opal.
Right. And I told Brad, Nancy be trying to show up on Opal and make her pies, but her pies don't taste good.
Just for clarity.
That her husband
Nancy, there is no Nancy that has ever been reported as a part of the story.
Nancy don't like the fact that her husband Ted likes Opal's pies. She ain't like
there's no
Nancy and Ted.
There's been no Nancy reported into any of these stories, nor has there been a Ted.
Girl, Nancy be looking at her salty. Was looking at her salty already. Now wait till Nancy got a hold of this information.
That's because Opal needed to be humbled. Opal was standing up there thinking that she's the pastor's wife and all that, and being all snooty. Now she's sitting in the third row instead of the first row because she's the fallen woman.
Opal is a sweetheart, Brand. Opal ain't did nothing to nobody.
I'm quite sure she is. She was a sweetheart because she thought she had a position.
She worked with the bad kids and the children's choir.
She's back there on the third row now. Being on the first row.
She just had to do the Christmas.
Quiet. Come on, shit on the first row.
Because you know you're not the pastor's wife no more. You got to be on the third row. You're not in the front no more.
She worked with your bad kids in the Christmas program. She already be doing children's choir.
Listen, I like to be the voice of reason. I know you guys are going off of emotion, and again, all of these women have been adversely affected by Jason Collier's.
But not like Opal.
He also said, back to the actual factual, the facts of the story. And things that
trying to say mine ain't facts.
Who the hell is Nancy? Or Ted? Or Women's Empowerment Brunch. He produced a false document. This is why he was arrested, because he was arrested. He was arrested for falsifying documents, a felony, because he created an annulment document that annulled his marriage. But here's the thing.
Man, the sheriff, who did this?
Listen.
The chief, I'm sorry.
The chief of police.
Who made him a chief?
Girl, he was putting.
Who made him an ordained minister?
Yeah.
Girl, in Mayberry, they ain't got but two people to switch around.
Supposed to be a man of the Lord.
The Lord of the underworld. So he falsified a document, but here's the thing: he's showing it to these women, and it's supposed to be a copy, but there's blue ink on it, like y'all, and it's the same handwriting from the case number to the plaintiff and the defendant, and all the way down. Even the signature on the bottom is the same handwriting. So again, this is telling me that these women were not necessarily looking for the grand love of their life. He presented to them a man who was steadfast, good job, good, intelligent, sweet, nice. He presented the perfect man to each one of these women. And preyed upon what he thought that they needed, because again, it wasn't his looks that got them, because he's not He's
like a strong four.
I mean, yeah, he's not ugly. He's just strong,
but that fupa threw me off, because we can't both have fupas.
I just couldn't deal with the chin fupa. I can't deal with.
I don't like when your pants balloon out right here. Your
I would say it was that belly fupa that did it for me. I was like, what? I ain't never. Okay.
Yeah. That's it. So they were looking for someone who looks good mowing the lawn and a pair of New Balance. What's the number?
Well, he likes women that are
financially independent.
Yeah. They're all single mothers. They all have their own money, their own everything. And even one of the women said, I think it might have been Cicely or Christy, I can't remember which one, said that he always wanted to pay. And she was like, you don't need to do, or, wanted to get stuff for her kids and stuff. And she was like, you don't need to do that, because
it's taken care of.
It's taken care of. I can get my kids what they need. I can get myself what I need.
And then he's selling them the dream of the typical husband, typical guy that can take care of you. Let's be a happy little family. And when women are looking, something kind of like that you mentioned earlier, Brandon, when people are looking for a specific thing, and here he is and fed them the dreams that they really want. They just want somebody to love you, someone to treat you right, someone to be your partner,
be a good father to the kids,
capitalizing on their emotions. Right. And sitting there being the man that they wanted to have in the first place. Because women, we tend to say, my last man did this, this is what I wanted.
We give men we give them the keys to the castle. We say too much in the first one or two dates. We give them everything. We tell them what we want, our past experiences. I'm vulnerable. I've been cheated on. I've been abused, and so what they say is, I would never cheat on you. I'm faithful. I'm a pastor. Mm-hmm. I would never abuse you. I'm gentle. I'm this. I'm a protector. And so you're immediately attracted to that, despite physical unattractiveness. Now you see this person as someone who is going to protect me, someone who's going to provide for me, because I'm always the one that's been working 2 jobs. So we give them exactly what they need to use us.
He pick up the kids. He spend time with them. These are single mothers. I'm not saying everyone at their baby daddies was a trip, but I'm pretty sure they put in a little bit more work.
Christy only knew him a couple weeks before he proposed.
Right. It's very quick.
And the thing is, with a lot of these women, he was like, we need to get married as soon as possible. My thing is, I'm trying to think, what
is the end game? What's his end game? Because what is your purpose for all of this? Is it to get money from them, to use their credit? Is it an ego thing? Was he bullied as a kid for having the 2 fupas? Like, what is going on with Collier? What's really happening there that he feels like he needs to boost his ego so much, or use these women, multiple women? Like, there's at least 10 women involved in this. And I'm quite sure more are going to come forward.
Yeah,
and he's having children
with these women,
because he got 2 with Opal
and 2 with Chloe,
and 2. Yeah. She's got a 2-year-old, and she's pregnant, 1 on the way, I think.
Yeah,
I'm like, you, Brandy. What is he getting? What is it? I don't think it's what is it? Ego? I don't think it's finance.
It has to be.
I don't think it's finance.
It has to be ego, because as individuals, we know our limitations, our physical limitations, as far as our bodies go, as far as our faces go. And we do, especially in this current culture, we do everything that we can to enhance them. We wear waist cinchers. Obviously, we wear makeup, because I don't look like this every day.
I look like every day though.
Period. And Brandy do too.
All day.
I'm just saying, I'm not ugly. I'm not ugly. I'm not like that chick who says she's a 5. I'm a good 9 on a regular day, but this gives me some 10 plus. But I'm just saying, we do things to enhance ourselves. We know our physical limitations, and we do things to take the focus off of those things. But for people who are bullied, a lot of people who are bullied or put down, maybe it's an ego booster. I mean, I've always been dark skinned, short, and round my entire life. And there are people who, especially in my own community, my own family, who have said, you'd be cute if you wasn't so black.
Facts.
Or, if you could just, if you just can lose a little weight or do whatever.
Facts.
But thank God I had a support system that was like, whatever, fuck them people.
So you think that Jason was ugly and fat? I think he probably was and lost all that weight, because why would he have a fupa otherwise?
Yeah, I think he did lose a lot of weight. I'd be interested to see old yearbook pictures of Jason. I don't think he was like the guy. He didn't look like Brandy. Who was that guy that had the blonde kid that had that beautiful smile? Was it Ammons? Was his last name Ammons? Was it Christy Ammons' brother?
You calling out people's names
from high school. I know you know what I'm talking about. I don't even know if that's her name, but you know what I'm talking about? The one who had the, like, in the yearbook was voted the best smile or whatever. Anywho, because I know you have that yearbook. But he wasn't that guy. He was not the guy voted anything. Maybe he was, or maybe he wasn't, but I'm speculating that he wasn't that guy. And I think that collecting all these women, hoarding them, is a boost to his ego, because otherwise, what would you do? This is, to marry if he was going to marry them, then you become a bigamist, and that's illegal in this country.
Well, he's married to 2.
Right. And to lose your position. Well, he kept them separate because one of the wives lives in the Midwest and the other one lives in Stinnett. But you lose your position as police chief. You have public shame as a pastor. So why jeopardize all of these things for this if it's not ego?
Well, maybe he's a narcissist.
Ooh. Which again, they're just feeding his ego to have all of these women, and to know that he is not a supermodel type. But I'm not. Excuse me. I got this thing with my nose. Sorry about that. He's not the supermodel type. He's never going to make it onto ABC's The Bachelor. But yet he has, he has a harem of women like The Bachelor does. You know what I mean? Like, he has all of these women that he can choose from, and they all are, he's stringing them along, and all of them believe his lies. So it's very, I don't know.
I'm definitely close to ego and narcissist. Little bastard.
Yeah, I mean, y'all, if y'all have not heard or seen the pictures of Jason Collier, there's some that he's more attractive than in other pictures, but he's still a strong 4.
A strong foe. On a good day, even with his uniform on, a strong 4.
He looks better when he has facial hair because he's covering up the facial. But you just know that in 10 years he's gonna have the turkey neck thing, at the bottom, that's gonna hang over the top of his collar. Well,
but like Brandy, I think that he used to be bigger and lost a lot of weight, and that's his end results. But I just know, just as a person who's been there, that I'm quick to tell what I wanted before thinking. I already told you what kind of man I wanted you to be for me. Even though that's not who you are, you're going to tell me that because you know that's what I want to hear. So now that I want to hear that, you're going to tell me that. And you're going to be exactly what I asked for. For a short, and I mean, it's going to be a short period of time because that's not who you are.
Right.
So that's what he did. That's exactly what he did to those poor women. And like you, Opal, despite the situation with Opal, it's still sad for all of them because they thought this was somebody that cared for them. Yeah. And then having to be go through this and publicly in front of everybody, it is horrible. That's horrible.
This is on everybody's lips. Jackie, you and I were talking before we started the show, was that I made a list, and this list, we had a teacher, Brandy and I had a teacher who told us a story about how before he met his wife, he made a list. And when he met her, he knew that she was it because she was the list. He didn't tell her what was on the list. He just knew it was her. And recently I did the same thing. I made the list and it was detailed and all of that. So I would caution everybody to make a list and
detailed list,
not just an itemized list like you're going to the grocery store, but make the list, say what you want, and then give an explanation about why that's a requirement. And that's basically explaining it to yourself why that's a requirement, so that when you meet that person, you already know that that's the person because they're on the list, but you don't tell them. For God's sake, don't tell them what's on that list, because they will transform themselves and become that thing. But trust me, that's the representative. Because when you date, you send out the representative.
You better talk about it.
And then you meet, because you know, like when you go to an interview and you're sitting there and you got your resume folder and you look nice, because you are too sending the representative to the interview, because you don't look like that. If you look at my employee badge at work, I don't look like that. I don't come to work like that. But you present well, because I need this job. So both parties are sending the representatives out, and I'm on my best behavior, and I'm not cussing, I'm not drinking the wine, I'm not doing any of those things. And then 3-4 dates in, when you get an interview, they send out the receptionist or the intern. And they give you coffee and they make you comfortable and they flip the pillows and they give you those croissants and they ask you if you need anything, and then they say, okay, we'll be right with you. And then walks in the manager, and the manager don't look nothing like that damn intern that just walked in here. He don't act like the intern. But the manager and the intern, they are giving you what you asked for. They're giving you sent in your resume, you told us exactly who you are and what you needed, and we're going to give you that. But that's the intern. But the manager is really who you're going to be stuck with. And the manager got a bad attitude. And a bad track record is shit. Is shit. Can't keep employees. The turnover rate in that department sucks ass. But you don't know that because you talk to the intern. Every time you called up to that place, you talk to the intern, you talk to the receptionist, you talk to anybody else. You never talk to the manager who you have to deal with. And that's what
but what do you do in a situation where you have this man and he's trying to be everything? He's presenting everything on your list. Because people like him pay close attention.
Right.
So he's going to present everything he thinks that you want. Because clearly he had to have done that for Christy, for her to get engaged within 2 or 3 weeks of knowing him.
But it also speaks to how vulnerable are these women that they're willing to believe this stuff. I think, and that's
a feel good stage.
Yes, and this is funny because
those couple of weeks, that's a feel good. You feel so good. You feel so y'all high. In each other's face. That's a feel good stage.
And I can say this because this is something that I'm going through now and went through very recently. Is that but I'm skeptical as shit. I question everything. So Brandy could, if you guys could.
I got to talk her off the ledge, folks. They're off the time.
Talk me off the ledge because I'm breaking up with dude every 72 hours.
I'm like, she'll read me something. I'll be like, that is not what that said.
Oh,
she made in her mind that something way off the wall, and I'm like, oh, first of all, it's one sentence, and 2. What is all this extra you done added up in here? All these adjectives and verbs.
Because I'm so skeptical that I really don't believe that this guy is this guy. And
well, you should have been skeptical because this guy was not the guy.
Right. But see, that's the thing. Like it's one extreme to the next. It's, polar opposites. It's like these women are completely in and naive and vulnerable. They're going to believe everything. And then me, I'm like, I believe nothing.
And the thing is, a lot of these women said that they asked him questions and he would turn it on them, like make them feel bad about asking him questions.
Right.
He got all these women. He don't remember who he told what to. Some stuff is just not adding up right. Like,
right. Like he has so much integrity and righteousness that you can't question me. I'm the chief of police, or I'm an officer in the army, or I work for Homeland Security, and I'm an ordained minister. So of course, how dare you ask me? So now you feel guilty asking those questions about, are you in a relationship? Is somebody in a relationship with you?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you been married? What is the status of your last relationship? Are you good with your ex? So a master manipulator makes you feel bad for asking the questions. Someone who is genuine, when you ask the questions, will tell you.
And you have to think, he's in two honest professions. He's a chief of police, not just a police officer. He's the chief of police.
So he was appointed to this position. He didn't even apply for it. He was appointed by his peers and trusted by everybody.
And ordained minister.
Again,
so he had
two
trust positions where you would be a trusted position where it would have to be someone of good character or whatever to have.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And
which are two job positions that me asking you questions about, considering the type of job you have, should be okay for you to answer. Because as a chief, you need to be trusted. You need to be a kind of person, someone who can deal with stress. As a pastor, you're supposed to be able to deal with stress or deal with any kind of question I may throw at you, because honesty is your job. So those are red flags for Jack. Jack would have been like,
Yeah, Jason.
My thing is, what kind of job? I mean, I know he's a chief of police, but he had to take off a whole lot of work.
Okay.
He hasn't held that position for very long, though.
Been holding it down for them because he been flipping and floating around while Opal back at the house with the children.
Okay. Last question before we end, and y'all, I don't know if y'all curious about this, but I'm curious as hell about this. Is what was the peen like with Jason?
I knew it.
Well, hopefully it's long enough to get around that fupa.
I get that these women are lonely and they needed,
first of all,
compassion and time.
Passing it out. You're supposed to be chaste and not fornicate.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing that I did say about Jason is, and this is vulgar, y'all, so be warned. Of course, this is not a family show, and we have that warning on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I just think he looks like it's uncircumcised and short. Is that? It stink a little bit.
Child, our facial expressions.
It's just a little stout.
Full of lint.
Ugh. I know that was one of my first thoughts. I wonder.
I don't know what his sex game was like, because all the compassion.
But if you're doing all the right things, it don't have to be good.
But can it at least be clean? Because it stink a little bit.
I mean, he passing around. I hope it's clean, or he giving everybody a line of infections. Poor Opal.
Yeah.
Well, stuff ain't being around. She's been in the hospital thinking it's her the whole time.
It's probably clean. It's just probably uncircumcised a little, because they can't. They get that. They get that grease thing going, so they gotta shower a lot.
Talking about some old cheese, some old smegma.
Not grease. Ew. Ooh, the grease thing like around the tub.
Opal been thinking it's her. Why her system been off? It ain't even Opal. It ain't even her fault why her system been off.
Not a system.
Y'all doing too much.
If any of y'all here, now this is serious. If any of y'all can go around and check on Opal, or any of y'all heard from Opal, please let me know. Because I got a heart for Opal.
Brandy has been concerned with Opal since the story broke, and she's.
I got a heart for Opal because she is just an amazing woman in the community. It's hard being a pastor's wife. It's hard being the chief of police wife, and she got to deal with Nancy.
You know what? In the photo, she did look like she do look like a really nice person. She looks like she just don't.
I'm not gonna say anything about.
Like I told you, she make all them good cookies.
She do look like she just completely.
She wear the applique sweaters.
Everything okay.
Applique sweaters and everything.
Brandy, don't put the applique sweaters on Opal. Don't do that.
She wear applique sweaters, Brand.
Don't do that. Don't. Okay, because I've seen the pictures.
I've seen the pictures
of Opal. She does not need an enhancement of applique sweaters.
She brings the cookie grams.
I can't.
Delivers them around town during Christmas. Where's her applique? She got one for Valentine's Day too, but since she ain't feeling a certain way, she may not be baking for Valentine's Day. So y'all know you ain't gonna be able to put in your orders with Opal this year because she in mourning.
Just as
Nancy's own nasty cookies and old nasty pies.
And just as a disclaimer, again, people, we don't know about Opal's.
Y'all got puppies out there.
Nor do we know a Nancy or a Ted. It's never been mentioned in any of the articles information that we
got some good bakery items
and on Facebook. Okay,
don't listen to Brand. Instead,
I just want to put that out there because we're gonna get comments about whether or not this shit is true. We don't know Nancy. We don't know Ted. I don't know.
You don't know Nancy, and you don't know Ted.
But I don't know if Opal makes pies for the Women's Empowerment Brunch or sells them at the homecoming. I don't know. We don't know that. This is just speculation about what type of person that we think Opal is.
You got the nerve to be all up on that horse during the parade.
And on that note, we are going to end episode 29.
You know
we are going to go deeper in a rabbit hole talking about Nancy, Ted, and Opal.
I just got a heart for Opal.
So if anybody does know
Opal, reach out to me. We'll pray with you over the phone.
Brandy wants you to check in with her, make sure she's okay, because again, all of these women are going through something very traumatic and very public. And on a serious note, they do deserve the compassion because they were duped and led along by someone who clearly had malicious intent. So if you all know these women, we are laughing about this, but but really they do deserve compassion, each one of them, because they probably most likely went into this with good intentions, with someone who did not have, reciprocate that. So
right, this is another life lesson for women.
Yes,
another situation that here we go once again, having to endure and having to put on our shoulders and learn about, because we got some ninja out there that can't get their life right.
Right.
And instead of him being
the person that his position calls for,
he decided to just break a bunch of hearts because he felt like he could do what he.
And women of a certain age, we become jaded after a while, and we just don't want to do it anymore because your heart's been broken and you don't trust anymore. So this is very sad, especially leading to the month of Valentine, and where everything is
Valentine's Day. He would have been stretched.
Yes. So this is sad.
He did. And the thing is, he probably ain't gonna stop. He probably can't stop.
No, because he needs.
I don't know where he gonna find a woman. Maybe South Dakota or somewhere they don't know the story. I don't know.
And please don't write letters to that prison, because for some odd reason,
there's probably women looking for him right now.
I done told y'all Prison Bay stories. I told y'all about Prison Bay. Don't do
women. It seems like as soon as a bad dude do something, women just do not embarrass us.
Richard Ramirez, look at what they did with Watts. What's his name? Watts, the guy who killed his 2 kids and his wife.
Chris
Watts. Women were clamoring to get to this guy.
Crazy. Did we do that story on Chris Watts?
We didn't do Chris Watts. We didn't talk about Chris Watts. We need to talk about Chris Watts.
On the list.
We'll add him to the list. So again, if you guys have any stories that you want to add to the list, you can always email us at info@blackcoffeeandcrime.com. Hit us up on Instagram and Facebook at Black Coffee Crime. Look at our old episodes. You can comment on those old episodes. Let us know some things. They're always available to you on our YouTube channel as well. So we will see you guys next week for another episode.
Please reach out to Brandy.
Talking about Opal. Please, somebody.
I'm just saying, I'm praying. I'm telling her I'm praying for it.
Brandy Watts is praying for Opal. Brandy Evans has some questions for Opal, but Brandy Watts is definitely praying for her. I'm actually praying for all of these women that y'all get over.
Yes, all of them.
Any woman who's going through something similar, any man, any human who's been catfished. I really do feel sorry for you. So we're gonna go ahead and end the show, and hopefully someone will contact us about Opal. So good night, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.